Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man back in the studio with another Path of Preview. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Eldari Fire Prism. Make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and warcry content as well. Let's jump right in. Cook up your Space Marines with the flick of a switch using the new and improved Fire Prism. Such a cool model. That is a big old gun for such a small tank. The new Codex Eldari is available for pre-order this weekend, and we're super excited. We can't wait to unleash the new avatar, updated Guardians, and Moggen Ra upon the tabletop. Space Marines, however, won't be quite so keen, as the trusty Fire Prism is now precision-focused on melting its way through power armor. Based on the Falcon chassis, the Fire Prism swaps transport capacity for firepower. The Eldari engineers have clearly been hard at work, because the Fire Prism is now deadlier than ever before, and its dispersed pulse fire mode seems to have been designed specifically to kill Space Marines. Its strength makes a mockery of a Space Marine's supposedly superhuman toughness. That armor penetration will blast through their armor, much vaunted power armor, and damage 2 kills regular Space Marines stone dead. With the blast rule, it's also great for chewing your way through any of these pesky horde armies too. So we have the Prism Cannon. Before selecting targets, select one of the profiles below to make attacks with. We have first the Dispersed Pulse. Range is 60. Type is Heavy 3d3. It has the Blast special ability, and it is Strength 6, AP -2, and Damage 2. So on average, with 3d3, you would be getting, let's see, a 1, a 2, and a 1, or a 1, a 2, and a 2. So 4 to 5 shots, roughly, with a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 9. It does have the blast keyword, though, so for larger squads, we'll hit a little harder. And then with Strength 6, it's going to be wounding Toughness 3 on 2s, which is very good for weaker horde armies, or against, say, a Space Marine, for instance, with Toughness 4, or a Toughness 5, say Custode, you'd be wounding on 3s. And with -2, damage 2, a single shot is going to kill just about anything as long as they fail their save. Obviously, things like Space Marines would go from a 3+ to a 5+, so still a decent probability of passing their save, but overall this thing can deal some definite damage. I'd say on average, though, probably not going to want to shoot this thing at a squad of Space Marines, because in all reality, if you're getting, say, an average of 5 shots and you're hitting on 3s, let's say that you hit with 4 of those shots, and then you're wounding on 3s. Let's say you wound above probability with 3 of those shots. In all likelihood, they're going to pass at least one of their saves, so it's really only killing 2 Space Marines. So the trade-off for this big old tank to kill 2 Space Marines is not that great. Now, alternatively, if you were shooting a horde, you're probably, honestly, the dispersed shot is probably not the way to go. Like, it's nice that it adds some diversity, but it's really not going to do what you want it to do, honestly. So the focused lance is probably where its strength lies. Again, range 60, type heavy 2, strength is 14, AP is -5, and damage is 3d3. So again, with 2 shots, maybe a reroll to make sure that you hit, because you're going to be hitting, let's say, again, on 3s. So maybe you have to use a reroll, or you have reroll 1s or something like that from some other ability. So let's just say you hit with both of them, which is slightly probable, as you would hit 66% of the time with both of your shots. So let's say you hit with both of them, and then on top of that, strength 14 against your, let's say, a toughness 7, you're going to wound on 2s. Toughness 8, you're going to be wounding on 3s. So again, probability is you will wound on both of them, but at this point in time, you will probably have flubbed one of those rolls with either a 1 or a 2. But let's just say, again, that you get 1, and then let's say you get 2 shots through and see what happens. At -5, most vehicles are not going to be getting a save at all. And then 3d3 damage. Again, on average, you're going to roll a 1, and then a 2, and then a 1 again, or a 1, and then a 2, and then a 2 again. So you're looking at 4 to 5 damage each. So against another vehicle, you're looking at 4 to 5 damage if one shot goes through, or let's say 8 to 10 damage if 2 shots go through. So you're really not even going to be killing a light vehicle with this in a single shot. As most vehicles are going to have like 11 wounds, somewhere around there. So not bad, but definitely not a game stopper, like amazing ability. If it has an invulnerable save, it's probably going to be able to potentially save one of these shots. If you flub a roll, you'll be potentially saving a shot. It's not bad. Let me put it that way, but definitely not amazing. I don't think this is going to be a game changer from what we've seen so far. But the linked fire is probably like some of the special ability command point stuff is probably where it's going to come in. So don't look down yet. We haven't gotten there, and I haven't looked at it yet, honestly. So for harder targets, its full power mode is also better in the new codex. The focused lance is ideal for taking out enemy armor. But you know what's even better for taking out the toughest enemy units, such as Imperial Knights? More fire prisms. And don't just shoot them all separately. Pool their devastating firepower into one colossal blast with the linked fire stratagem. So previously, you were able to essentially have your fire prisms shoot their fire prism at your other fire prism, and then all the fire prisms together created a giant super strength beam coming from the one single fire prism, and then whatever that hit got eradicated from existence, theoretically. So that is what linked fire is all about. So linked fire is a 2 command point eldari stratagem, strategic ploy. Fire prisms can combine their destructive power to unleash all-powerful beams of laser energy. Use this stratagem at the start of your shooting phase. Select one fire prism model from your army, then select 1 or 2 other friendly fire prism models within 12 inches of and visible to that model. Until the end of the phase, each time the fire prism model you selected shoots using the focused lance profile of its Prism Cannon. Okay, that is interesting. So select one fire prism model from your army. That's obviously your main shooter. And then select 1 or 2 other fire prisms within 12 inches. Those are the ones that are channeling their beam into the initial one. And then it says until the end of the phase, each time the first fire prism model you select shoots using the focused lance profile of its fire prism cannon. Okay, so each time it shoots, it does have 2 shots. So that is probably what they're referring to. That model makes 2 additional attacks with that weapon using that weapon's focused lance profile for each other fire prism model you selected. Invulnerable saving throws cannot be made against enemy attacks made by that model with that weapon. Until the end of the phase, each other fire prism model you selected cannot make any attacks with its prism cannon. Okay, so the first one you pick is the main shooter. The other 2 cannot shoot. They channel their energy into the first one. The first one has 2 shots with its weapon. The model makes 2 additional attacks with each of those 2 shots. So the 1 shot turns into 3 shots. It then shoots with those 3 shots, and then the other fire prisms cannot shoot, obviously. 2 additional attacks with that weapon for each other fire prism you selected. So 1 shot with 1 other fire prism, total of 2, turns into 3 shots. But if you have 2 fire prisms channel into 1 fire prism, the first shot goes from 1 to 3, and then the second prism that is piggybacking goes from 3 to 5. So, and then it gets 2 of those shots. So in all actuality, your 3 fire prisms turn into 5 shots for the first shot and 5 shots for the second shot. So 3 fire prisms are now, instead of giving you 6 shots on their own, they're giving you 10 shots together. And now they're going to ignore invulnerable saves. So that is pretty epic. So for 2 command points, you're going from your 6 shots that you would normally have that do not ignore invulnerable saves, and now those 6 shots are going to become 10 shots. So you're basically getting about a little over 50% more effectiveness. And then on top of that, ignoring invulnerable saves. So that is very good for 2 command points. And now if you have only 2 fire prisms, say 1 is already destroyed, or you only have 2 in your army, the first shot is going to turn to 3, the second shot is going to turn to 3, so now you have 6 shots, as opposed to normally you would have had 4 shots. So it's 50% more effective if you have 2 of them working together over them just shooting individually, and it's like 66 or something like that % more effective if you have 3 of them working together as opposed to all 3 shooting individually. So let's just look back here for a moment. So 2 additional attacks, so 5 shots, and then it shoots twice. So now we have 10 shots. And then let's just go statistically with ballistic skill 3, and let's say we're wounding on 3s. So if we now have 10 shots with ballistic skill 3, we should hit with 7 of them. And then if we're wounding on 3s, we should wound with, and I'm rounding up on these, we should wound with 5 of them. And then at AP -5, ignores invulnerable saves, they're probably not going to be able to save. And then our damage is going to be roughly 3 to 4 per shot. So roughly 15 to 20 damage this thing will deal out. Now granted, that is all 3 tanks shooting though. So 15 to 20 damage total with all 3 tanks and 2 command points. Pretty good. Pretty good. So that's a possible 6 strength 14 shots, doing up to 18 D3 damage and ignoring invulnerable saves. It's time to start believing in the power crystals. Oh wait, so did I mess that up? That's a possible 6 strength 14 shots, doing up to 18 D3 damage. Oh, maybe I misread that. Oh, I think I did. Okay, so hang on. Use this stratagem at the start of your shooting phase. Select 1 fire prism model from your army. Then select 1 or 2 other friendly fire prisms within 12 inches of and visible to this model. Until the end of the phase, each time the fire prism model you selected shoots using its focused lance profile of its prism cannon, that model makes 2 additional attacks for each fire prism. Okay, so it does not give you 2 additional per shot. See, I don't like how that's worded. Why does it say, that brings me back to my initial inclination from the very beginning. Each time, until the end of the phase, each time the fire prism model you selected shoots using its focused lance profile. So it should only be able to shoot once. So is there some sort of ability? Is there a other stratagem? Is there a psychic power? Is there something that's going to allow this fire prism to shoot more than once? Otherwise, there's no reason for it to say each time it shoots using its focus profile, because it would just be able to shoot once normally. So it shoots once, and then it makes 2 additional attacks with the weapon for each other fire prism model you selected. So it goes from 2 to 4 or from 2 to 6 if you have 3 fire prisms. But the fact that it says each time it shoots throws me off. So I wonder if there's going to be, based on this and the way it's worded, and the fact that I was incorrect, that it's not going to add to the 2 shots an additional 4 shots each time. So you're not going to get 5 shots and 5 shots. You're just going to get a total of 6 shots, according to this. Which is still good, but not great. Especially for 3 vehicles, and then especially to spend 2 command points. So but it is great that it ignores invulnerable saves, and it's definitely good. But the fact that it says each time, until the end of the phase, each time the first fire prism model you selected shoots using its focused lance profile of its prism cannon, it should only ever be able to shoot once using that. So is there a double shoot stratagem for Eldar for the fire prisms to where you could literally basically double shoot with 3 tanks for a total of 6 tanks worth of shooting? I don't know. We'll have to see. Man, this was a crazy speculation. I definitely got ahead of myself there and misunderstood the rule. But again, that's just a specific example where this could have been worded differently if there wasn't going to be a double shoot ability in this army. So this makes me think that the way this is worded, you could have just literally left off until the end of the phase. Each time the fire prism model you selected shoots using the focus lance profile of its fire prism cannon, you could have just said until the end of the phase, the first fire prism model you selected shoots using the focus lance profile of its fire prism cannon. Instead of each time, it would have just said the first fire prism model. So the addition of each time right there is only typically used when something can do something more than once in a phase, because that's how your Tyrannid double fight or double shoot stratagem is able to be so good on like hive guard and things like that. That's how until the end of the phase, when you do like the damage increase on like the exarch stratagem is so good. So we'll have to see. That's crazy, man. Quite a bit of speculation here. I really just can't wait for this codex to come out. We have seen so many different rules for Eldari at this point in time, and quite a few of them are worded kind of poorly. I've had a bunch of people already like arguing and trying to correct me on the Strands of Fate, telling me that you can only use one Strands of Fate die per turn, or that you could potentially only use one of each kind of Strands of Fate die per turn. I'm sure that that's incorrect. There's no reason that you would ever want to have the multiple things. If you would roll a double or a triple or a quad or something like that, all those extra dice are useless. Because if you could only use one, say like reroll charges, and you roll multiple reroll charges, you wouldn't be able to use those extra dice. So they would just go to waste. And in a normal game, you roll 6 dice and you get to keep 5 of them. Now there is also I believe it was a relic that we saw from Ulthway that allow you to keep a 6 die. So now you're going to keep 6 dice, and it's only useful if you didn't roll any doubles, and it's only useful to allow you to use each of those dice one time. So it's exponentially less useful at bigger games, because the 5th die that you save is going to be the second least useful, and then the 6th die is going to be the one that you're probably not going to use at all, or not need at all. So now this relic is going to let you save the die that's the least important to you, because you can only use each one once. That doesn't make any sense. I think it's just poorly worded. Instead of saying you get to save 5 of your 6 dice in the big games, and then each time you expend one of those dice, and then it grants you that ability, is what they should have said. Instead, they said choose one of those dice, and then you can only do that once per phase, or once per battle round, making it sound like you can only use that ability once per battle round, but in all actuality, they meant you can only use each of those dice once per battle round, and then the die is essentially expended. But again, we'll have to see. I mean, we've seen so many rules and so many reveals, and there's so much speculation at this point in time. Until we actually see the rules at this point in time, like, it's just so much rules to speculate on, and so many potential combos and potential good things, and we don't know any points on anything, and I really just at this point in time can't wait to see the actual codex. So as soon as I have that in my hand, I will definitely go through that and do an in-depth look and look for some cool combos and stratagems and all kinds of like cool stuff. Potentially build out a couple armies that might be good or fun, exciting. Figure out which craft world will be the best for which specific units that people might want to take in their army, etc. But until then, there's just so much rampant speculation going on. I know for a fact Eldar will be good. They will definitely be fun, and they will definitely be a nice-looking army. Aside from that, I think it's complete speculation at this point in time. I have no idea which craft world is going to be the best. I have no idea which units are going to be the best. I know that this will be very useful, because we know for a fact that hammerhead spam, although it's not amazing, it's definitely a thing because it can do a bunch of damage and ignore invulnerable saves. So if hammerheads get one shot each and ignore invulnerable saves, that's obviously very good. But taking 3 of them, full on spam, or 4 with the commander, can just absolutely destroy big vehicles, but that's also a massive point sink. So with these 3, again, 2 command points is a decent amount of an expenditure, but 2 command points to allow all 3 of these tanks to shoot a single big target and destroy it. But if they don't have a single big target like that, you can still shoot the 3, at various targets with their multiple different profiles. Gives you much, much more diversity. So overall, I think this is the better choice. Although you do have to pay the 2 command points, and you don't get the extra mortal wounds and all that stuff. This is basically just hammerhead spam for, Eldari. So, which further just brings me back to, what I'm always talking about, which is full-on rules bloat, over 9,000. So, this to me just looks like another perfect example of rules bloat. We went from nothing ignoring invulnerable saves to hammerheads ignoring invulnerable saves, and now the Eldari have a bunch of close combat dudes who ignore invulnerable saves, and then also tanks that can ignore invulnerable saves. So pretty soon we're going to need something else. like a void rift or something like that that can't be ignored. That's a whole different kind of save. But that's it for this video. Another rampant speculation on the Eldari. Definitely excited. Cannot wait to get my codex. It is on pre-order. Can't wait to have it in my hands. Definitely excited for the Eldari. Let me know what you think. Let me know about your rampant speculation. I know that before people even get to the part of the video, they're going to already be correcting me in the comments. So I will look forward to all the corrections in the comments from my speculation before reading that last paragraph. And perhaps in the future, I will read the whole article and then I will speculate afterwards. But that's it for today. If you like the video, if you like these kinds of news, reactions, reviews, unboxings, of course, all kinds of tutorials, everything from, building, painting, magnetizing, lighting, and everything in between. And then, of course, we show off our commissions. We're a commission-based studio. I am preparing a video to show off a commission that we have just finished up today. Just make sure to like and subscribe, share it with your friends. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios, Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.